my name is Maya and welcome to the episode 41 of my knitting podcast where I share all my thoughts, process and other random stuff about all things fiber related, but mostly knitting. Today is the 4th of January 2025. Happy New Year to everybody! And I'm coming to you from the French-speaking part of Switzerland where I live with my gecko. Today's program is pretty heavy. I have a ton of stuff to show. I have a lot of finished objects. It depends on how you count. It's either 4 or 7 because they come by pairs, and it's not only socks. And I have 2 works in progress, and I wanted to do a very small year in review for 2024 because I don't want to make a whole video just for that, talking about everything I knit in the year, etc. So I wanted to just do like my favorites and my least favorite, singular, because I only have one knit that I don't like this year. And yeah, so that's gonna come at the end of the episode, and I'm also gonna talk about if I reach the loose plans I had set for myself this year and the ones I'm gonna set myself for next year. I don't really do goals or plans, but I have kind of idea up in the air, so I can share about that. But that's gonna come at the end. So, for today, first, what I'm wearing. I thought it would be funny to wear this one because this is the first knit I finished this year. So this is a test knit I did for Celine Phaeton. It's the Little Crystals, which is a very cute and boxy sweater. It's all over color work and I really like it. I really love this color combo. Some of you noticed that I'm really into red or Bordeaux, burgundy and black, and yes, it's the case. I knit size 3 and I used the black. The main color is Le Lamb's Wool by Bichebuche in very dark grey. It's not black, it's very dark grey. And the red is Nutiden. The colorway is Amanita. I had 1 thread of Nutiden with 1 strand. Did I say whatever? 1 strand of another light fingering red yarn because doing color work with a single strand of Nutiden was a little bit painful. So I held that with something else. And I like that the sleeves are pretty wide, they don't have shaping, at least not in my size. And I just like the vibe. It's super comfy. I like it. I modified the sleeves because I added a little bit of a sleeve cap here, and I should have made a little bit of duplicate stitch to do like this here, but I didn't because I'm lazy and I don't care enough to do it. However, what I care enough about is that I added pockets, but they are not centered, so this is the center and my pockets are here. Because the underarm marker, like this one, was not at the center of the underarm and I didn't notice it, so when I placed the pocket I centered them with the marker and it was not centered, so they are offset. And I would like to cut off the body here, move it about 10 stitches I think, and then graft together again. But I haven't found the time to do it, so in the meantime I have pockets that are offset. But it's okay. Yeah, so that's my first finished object of 2024. I have a hair. And I thought it would be funny to wear also my last finished object of 2024, which is this brilliant, literally brilliant hat. Oh no, the sun is coming out again. Every time I start filming, the sun comes out. So it's a Musselburgh hat. It's my first finished object for today, and I knit it in fingering weight on 3mm needles, and it's hedgehog fibers yarn, and the colorway is jelly, so it's a kind of a 2 tones. There is a red and pink, and it's a very bright pink, as you can tell, even in the shade up here. And I just thought it would be funny to wear my first finished object with my last. So here it is. And I really like it. The fit is perfect. I had a problem because when I bought the pattern for this hat, it was like ages ago, maybe a year and a half ago, and I don't know what I did. I bought it on Ravelry, I'm pretty sure. But it's not in my Ravelry library, and when I wanted to go on Ravelry to get the pattern, because I was not at home, I didn't have my computer with me, the pattern wasn't there, and I couldn't find it, and I was like, I'm not gonna buy it a second time. I have it already, so yeah, I don't know what happened. Maybe I bought it on Isolde Tig's website, I don't know. So I had to freestyle the sizing because I didn't have the sizing chart with me since I didn't have the pattern accessible. So I remembered you're supposed to measure the gauge at the crown when you're done with the increases, and then calculate the number of stitches you need depending on the size of your head and your gauge. But I had to do my own calculations, and I discovered, I mean I didn't discover it, I knew it already, but my gauge when I'm doing increases is a lot tighter than when I'm just knitting in a round. So I did way too many increases, because then when I started knitting in a round my gauge got a lot bigger, so it was just way too big. So I had to unravel the bit I did and undo, I think, 2 increase rows, so that was 16 stitches less. And then I finished the hat like that. And that was the correct size. What I did also, you cannot see it here, but I have a hole. I have a hole here in the crown in both sides of the hat, because as you may probably know, it's a long tube. And I cannot unfold mine because I have sewn together the 2 edges here at the hole, because when I did the bind off, since I left myself a few stitches, I did an alcor bind off and I picked up the cast on edge when I bound off the other side. It was an absolute pain. I do not recommend to do that, because yeah, in this very small tiny hole, having the whole thing folded and trying to pick up a stitch inside the hole, do not recommend. But I'm super happy with the result, and now it just stays in place whenever I fold it on either side, and it just stays like that, and the holes are always aligned. So that's great. But yeah, it was super painful to do. And the reason I did that, you may probably know, but I really don't like wearing hats with my hair down. I was only doing it for 5 minutes just before I removed it right now, and it was already bothering me, because first, I just don't like the feeling of my hair touching my neck here. And if I'm wearing a scarf or something and I go out and about with a hat and my hair down, I get a super tangled mess around here whenever I, you know, move my hair around, and it's an absolute pain to brush out at the end of the day, and I just hate it. And I don't understand how people can wear a hat with hair down for a whole day and not have a super huge, like, mess, tangles everywhere. I don't get it. So what I wanted to do is have the possibility to wear a hat with my hair in a ponytail, which I have here now. So the reason I did this haul is so that I can wear the hat and then pull my hair through the hole like that. And now I have a hat and I have a ponytail and my neck is free and I feel good, and that's excellent. So yeah, I think it's working pretty great. The hole is not exactly centered where I usually do my ponytail, it's a little bit too high. So the hole is like up here and my ponytail is down here, which means I have a little bit of a bunching down here, but it's okay. I mean, it's just a little bit of a slouchy look, it's fine. The problem is that it's kind of pulling up here, so it's kind of lifting it up like this, which I'm not a fan of. So I wish I could have done it a little bit longer, but my skein was 99 grams, and usually when you buy a skein of hand-dyed yarn, it's a little bit more than 100 grams, at least in my experience. It's usually 105, even 110. So it was kind of bad luck that I had a 99 grams skein. If it was 105, I could have made it long enough, but yeah. And by the way, I used all the yarn. I have 1 gram left, and I was this close from unraveling the crown to do 2 more rows with the 1 gram I had left, and then do the crown again so that I had 0 leftovers. But I didn't do it. I had to stop myself, but I didn't do it. I was very close. Yeah, so I'm super happy. I love that I have kind of a big fold here, and I love the color effect. I don't have too much pulling, a little bit. You can kind of see it, but it's okay. It's not too bad. Actually, there is one side that's more pulling than the other, and I think it's I cannot see. It's this one. So when I wear the hat the other way around, I have more pulling. But whatever. This pink yarn was gifted to me. I mean, I asked my brother to gift it to me for Christmas because I have a pink jacket that's the same color as this, and now I can have the pink hat and the pink jacket, and it's gonna be amazing. And I'm super happy. Yes, I think I'm gonna keep it on my head even though I'm overheating like crazy right now, because I want to see if this is soft enough for my forehead, because it's very sensitive part of my body, and I cannot wear hats. Even store-bought hats or any hats, it's always a little bit itchy. I can actually start to feel the itch. But we will see, because some fabrics are more bothering than others, so maybe this one can be like a little bit itchy but in a acceptable way. We shall see. I'm just gonna keep it on even though I look like a condom. I really think it looks better with the hair down, but I'm too hot. And also I just remembered that I really hate the sound of my hair against my ears, and it's like brushing against my ear, and I hate this sound. I could have my hair behind my ears, but then it's bulky and then it hurts. Life is hard, you know. First world problem. So yeah, we're gonna see in a few minutes how I feel about that, but I'm super hot. Okay, so my second finished object is a pair of socks that I finished. It's not for me, they are not for me, they are for a climbing friend that loves hand-knit socks, and he asked me if I could make him a pair in exchange for some honey, because he's a beekeeper and I love honey. So I made him this pair. This is Lang Yarn Super Socks 4 ply. It's self-striping, obviously. And the colorway is Ares, I don't know, it's the Greek god guy. I used the vanilla Kite heel sock, Kite heel pattern by Celine Phaeton, and I love it. It's amazing. I really love knitting this heel. It's my favorite. I used to do the Fish Lips Kiss heel, but this is better. I prefer it. I'm in the knitting experience, and I tried them on my boyfriend, which has the same size fit as the recipient, and they fit him great and they look amazing. And I want to make myself a pair in that, so I'm just convinced this is the best heel ever. And it looks great when it's flat, because the Fish Lips Kiss heel looks a little bit awkward when it's flat like that, and this one doesn't. This is absolutely not important, but it's a plus. If you watched my winter knitting plans video, I did a whole TED talk about the fact that I don't like wearing hand-knit socks for a lot of reasons. If you're interested, you can go and watch that video. I received so many comments of people sharing that they have the same issue as me, which is mainly that my feet, when they are cold and I'm wearing wool, like hand-knit socks, they start sweating, but in a very weird way, because I'm not hot, I'm super cold, but then it's a super weird feeling of coldness and wetness at the same time, and it's like your feet are moist, but so yeah, I hate that. And a lot of people mentioned that they or their husbands had the same issue, and they gave so many amazing recommendations as to how to avoid that, and I was like mind blown because I never thought about all of that, and I was like, this is genius. So the two best recommendations I got, thank you all so much, by the way, it was really eye-opening for the situation for me. The two best recommendations I got were, the first one was to try to use a non-wool sock yarn, and the recommendation was to try Haiku Koba C, which is cotton bamboo silk sock yarn, and it has a little bit of elasticity in the thread, which makes it very suitable for socks, even though you don't have wool in the blend. and I really want to try that because I had heard about the yarn but I didn't realize that it was a wool-free sock yarn. It looks amazing, I really want to try it, but it's not available outside of the US and Canada. So I could order it from the US, but then I would have to ship it all the way to Europe, and it's a case where it's not because you can do something that you should do it. Because yeah, it's just a sock yarn. It doesn't matter enough to me to go through all the way to order something at the other side of the world just to make myself some socks. So I won't I won't buy that, but it's in my head and I want to try that one day, and if I ever cross it somewhere in a festival or if I ever go to the US or whatever, I will remember I want to try that out. And the other recommendation that changed my life is that someone mentioned I could wear like store-bought socks, like the ones I have, like normal socks, and on top of that, hand-knit socks. And I was like, wow, this is genius! So I did that, and the problem is I have quite a pair of hand-knit socks. I have like 10 or 12, and 99% of them are a little bit too small. Because I absolutely hate when my socks are baggy on my feet. I just hate that. So they are all kind of too small, because when they are a little bit too big, I unravel them and I start over so that they are too small. Yes, so I have only one pair that's too big, and that's actually big enough for me to wear over another pair of socks. Even though store-bought socks are super thin, I still cannot wear the other pairs over that. So I've been wearing this only one pair the past few days, and it's amazing. I can wear my hand-knit socks over those and feel great and not have the cold, sweaty feet. I mean, my feet are still cold, of course. That's a normal state of mind, I guess. But at least my feet are not sweaty, and that's a huge, huge win. So I've been doing that. But I only have one pair I can wear like that, which is a shame. So I think I would like to make myself new socks now, but that are a little bit too big. But I don't need them, because my feet are still cold. It's just nice because I can wear something I knit, but it's not useful either because it's not warmer. My feet are still cold. So if you have been struggling like me with hand-knit socks making your feet sweaty, do that. Wear them over store-bought socks. Chef's kiss. Okay, so my next finished object are those guys. Those are coasters I made in Jasmine stitch. So Jasmine stitch looks amazing. It's made with crochet and it looks like this. The funny thing is that this one is definitely bigger, but I used the same crochet size and I used the same number of rounds. You cannot really tell, but this one is larger. And that is because when I did the first one, I'm using leftovers I have. It's an 100% alpaca yarn from a friend's farm, so I cannot have more of it, and nobody can actually, because it's from a friend. And I had leftovers because I knit myself a cowl, and I had like 70 grams left, something. And for the first coaster, the big one, I used 27 grams, but I had 54 grams left. And 27 times 2 is 50... No, I had 52 grams left, and 27 times 2 is 54. So I didn't have enough to do 2 more. So what I did is I did the new one, but doing slightly smaller stitches. With the Jasmine stitch, you're doing puff stitches, and it's just a matter of doing them a little bit smaller when you pull the yarn. And I did that, and this one is 24 grams. So I have enough to make 3 now. Now the question is, will I be able to do the puff stitches the exact correct size to use everything, or will I have like 3 grams left at the end? I will probably have 3 grams left. Let's be real, but it's okay. I can survive. So those 2 are done, and the weird thing is that I blocked them and they look terrible now. They looked so much better before blocking, because now they have kind of this like curly stuff, and the petals are not straight anymore, and they're like going in like wavy. It's looking super weird, and before blocking they were all straight and looking great, and I'm not sure what happened, so I don't think I will block the last one. Yeah, it just looks like curly flowers. I don't know, it's super strange, but it's okay. I just plan to have them below my flower pots, so I don't really care if the petals are not straight. But yeah, just a fun fact. I'm not gonna show this again when I finish the third one because it's literally the same and you already saw two. So I consider this finished even though I still have one to do. But it takes less than an hour, so it's a pretty fast job. And the last finished object, I don't have any more because I gave it away because they were gifts. As you may know, because I mentioned it like 200 times, I play D&D and I've been wanting to make dice pouches for my friends in my party, and we are 5, so I've been using my socks leftovers, so I used the leftovers from those socks to make 2 pouches, and then I had other leftovers. So I made 4 pouches and I finished them last year. And I gifted them yesterday. So this is the last one I have, which is way too big for dices. I mean, I don't have enough dices for that. But yeah, it's twice smaller and it's not entrelac stitch. It's just, I took a picture of all the pouches together and they are just so cute. And yeah, I gifted them yesterday to all of them and they were super happy. And it made me happy, and yeah, it was a very sweet moment. So I don't have them anymore, but now I want to make myself one in the correct size even more, so I need to get going on that. But yeah, I have the yarn, I have everything ready, I just need to do it. So that's all my finished objects. I am way too hot. This is really bothering me. It's itchy. It's not too bad, but since I'm too hot, it's even itchier than it should. I guess if I'm outside and I'm cold, it could be fine, but like it's bothering me. I will keep it on for 10 minutes more, but yeah, it's... The yarn content is 90% merino and 10% nylon, and I know nylon is itchy for me, so that's why I wasn't really sure if I wanted to make myself a hat with this yarn. But I decided to try because the nylon content was low and the merino use is 20.5 micron, which is very soft. So I figured I could try and just let's see if it works, and it's better, but it's not perfect. Okay, let's move on. Now let's get into the works in progress. So the first one, the big one, is my Halmoni jacket. It's designed by myself and I am knitting a sample in my size because the pattern sample was for my dad, so way too big. And it's looking like this, so it's a jacket. I mean, it's a cardigan, but I named it jacket because in French this type of garment is called a jacket, and I just wanted to have the same name, even though it's not really a jacket. So I'm at the sleeve, and I finished one front panel because there are pockets, and this is one pocket here, and I have started the back. It looks pretty chaotic, but yeah. I have started the back, and the thing that's flapping here is the pocket lining. It actually goes inside like that, and when I'm finished with this piece and it's reaching the same length as this one, I'm gonna join everything and have the pocket lining back here that I'm gonna sew to this. And I stopped in the middle here because I had completely forgotten that I don't have enough yarn. Or I probably don't have enough yarn, and I need to do the sleeves before I finish the body because I may use too much yarn in the sleeves. And the only possibility I have to use another yarn in this garment is to do the pocket linings in another yarn, which means I should do intarsia to have just this flappy bit in another yarn. But to be sure of the yarn amount I need for the sleeves, I need to do at least one sleeve. And I forgot, so I started doing the back and the pocket linings, and in the middle of them I was like, I need to do a sleeve! So I did that. And I am currently a little bit more than halfway through, and I used 60 grams, a little bit less than 60 grams, so I think I'm gonna use 100 grams for the sleeve. Or maybe a bit more, 110, something like that. And I have 3 of those left, and those are about 90 grams. And I have this, which should be 30, 40, and I have the swatch. So it's a very close call. I'm really not sure I'm gonna have enough, but we will see. I'll finish the sleeve, calculate how much I used, and if I need more yarn than I have, I'm gonna have to unravel this bit so that I can start over while doing intarsia for the pocket linings, and that should save me about 10 grams, and I hope it will be enough. I don't know. If it's not, I need to unravel this part before I started the pockets and start earlier to shorten the whole thing, because I cannot really shorten the pockets, otherwise I cannot stick my hand through them, and I don't really want to shorten the ribbing at the bottom because otherwise it would look weird. So my only possibility to get more yarn and to shorten the body is to do it before the pockets, which is very early in the pattern. So we shall see. There is no picking up for the front here. There is a zipper coming in and the edging is already done. It's an I-cord, so there's that. I only have the collar to pick up. I don't know. The suspense is real. We will see if I have enough or not. Alright, this is too much. I can't... It's disappointing, but I'm not surprised. I knew it would happen. Everything is itchy on my forehead. The only things I can wear comfortably are hand knits that I have added a fleece lining into, so that I have like the synthetic fabric, the fleece, against my forehead, and that's okay. Everything else I have tried is too itchy, so I'm disappointed, but still not surprised. The last test I can do is wear it when it's cold, and maybe it can be a bit better. We will see. But at least the ponytail thing is working great. At least there's that. Alright, the last work in progress. There is a huge fly. Oh no. There is a huge fly that entered my apartment yesterday, and anyway, my next work in progress is my own design. It's... I need to kill it. It stopped moving for now, but I'm ready. Okay, my next work in progress is my own design. It's the one and only Melon Sweater. Look at this swatch. So it has a slip stitch texture design, texture pattern, I mean, and this is what it's supposed to look like. This is the shoulder, as I have shown you a few times already, so it's a contiguous shoulder construction. So you increase here for the body, and then you start increasing here for the sleeves, and this comes over the shoulder like that. And I showed you last time this swatch that wasn't blocked yet, but I completely messed up because I did too many increases on the sleeves and it was doing like this. Yeah, it was looking like a sea slug and it was pretty funny. And I solved the mystery of why that was happening. So what happened is I cast on here, there is a folded over stockinette here at the neckline, and I use the smaller needle for that. I use 3mm, and when I switch to the texture here, I use the 3.5mm. So I was using a long circular needle. I don't have any here, but you get the idea. And I have interchangeable tips, so when I switched from the 3mm to here, I switched one tip to 3.5, I knit one row, and when I finished the row, I changed the other tip for 3.5. At least I thought I had. And then I started knitting the whole thing. And when I got to the bottom here, I did it again. I knit the front part of the folded over stockinette, and when I got to the back, I switched to 3.3mm. At least I thought I did. But what really happened is that I switched one needle when I did the first row, and when I did the second row, I switched the same needle to the smaller size. So I went from 3 and 3 to 3 and 3.5 and 3 and 3 instead of 3.5 and 3.5. But of course I didn't notice it, so I knit the whole thing on 3mm, which is why the fabric was feeling so stiff and tight, and you can barely see the contrast color behind the main color here, and it's not supposed to be, the main color is not supposed to be so visible. You're supposed to see a little bit more of what's below it. And I was wondering why it was behaving like that. And when I went down there, I did the correct needle change, except I didn't notice that the needles in front of me were not the correct ones, and I switched my needles, and I switched my 3 to 3.5, which means the inside of the folded over stockinette was a much bigger gauge than the outside, which is why it was doing the super flapping around. So I solved the mystery, and when I unraveled until here, because I had too many increases here anyway, and when I started knitting, that's when I noticed that my needles were not the correct ones. So I knitted again, and then I switched to, I think, 2.5 or 2.75 for the inside of the folded over, but then the gauge is too tight, so it's rippling a little bit anyway. It's not the right gauge, and the fabric is super tight. It doesn't feel like a comfortable sweater. It's not great. So I had to do another swatch of the correct needles, which is this one, and here the fabric is much more drapey, and it's great, and it's softer, and it's so much better. So this one is made on 3.5 meters. It's hard to tell, but the fly is back. I didn't kill it. So this one is on 3.5 and this one is on 3, and you can tell the main color is really, like, the proportions of colors. It's difficult to tell because I swapped the colors, but yeah, you can tell this is much better. This is too tight. So on this one, you have a very beautiful appearance of the contrast color below the main color on top, and it's gorgeous. The yarn I'm using, completely forgot to mention that, the yarn I'm using is Explorer Knits Earthy Sock, which is a non-superwash merino fingering weight. It's a 2-ply, it's gorgeous. And this is Butterfly Pea Flower, and this one is In Bloom. And as I already mentioned, this is a collab with Explorer Knits. So yeah, I'm super excited. I just love this color, I love everything about this project. Now, let me show you the actual work in progress. Because I have made quite some progress with it. And here it is. So it's a little bit scrunched up on the needles, of course. Which one is the front? This is the front. There. This is it! I love it! I'm gonna put it on me so you can see the fit later, but it's amazing. So you have the cast on here at the neck, and then you do increases. You only knit, the beginning is knit flat until you reach the bottom of the neckline, and then you cast on stitches here, and then you start knitting in around, and you still do the increases, the rapid increases here on the shoulder, and when you reach the tip of the shoulder here, you start increasing here instead of here, and you get the sleeve that starts to grow out. Let me put it on to show you how it looks, because I am extremely happy with the fit. Okay, I had to take off my sweater because it has kind of a it's not tight, but it's fitted around the shoulders, so I don't have the ability to put it on something else. But look at that! I have the shoulder seam here, and then it transforms into the sleeve, and my sleeve is slowly growing from there, and then it's gonna get bigger and bigger until I reach the underarm, where I'm gonna separate and have them. It's so good! It's just perfect. Obviously I'm missing the neckline, and it's gonna be even better with that. And as you could see in the swatch, I'm planning a folded over stockinette here, and I'm just so happy with the fit. I had to do a modification for it to fit me, because as you may know, my proportions are a little bit off the charts. This is size 2, so I cast on the number of stitches for size 2. I didn't finish the grading, but I did the grading for my size. And what I did is I added some short rows. You can maybe tell that the first complete stripe is the blue one, and then I have incomplete stripes up here. I have 4. Not sure you can really tell, but there is a little bit of a triangle there. And that's because I did short rows in this section, this little shoulder section, so that I had more stitches on the back shoulder here than on the front. Because my cross back is larger than my front, my cross front. But with a contiguous shoulder like that, you cannot really have a different amount of stitches here than here, because you cast on your stitches and then you start increasing on both sides. You can't just not increase on one side, on one side, because otherwise it just doesn't work. So I had to do short rows so that I could have this back section be longer than the front. And that way, when I wear this guy and you see me from the side, you can see that it's slanting a little bit towards the front, which is exactly what happens in my body. I have the shoulder here that's not back here like it should be, like this if I was normally sized, but it's more like that. And that's what I did with a little bit of short rows up here. And it also raised the back neck, which is great because my back neck is a little bit higher anyway. So everything is working perfect. I'm just so happy. It's just so great. I mean, look at that. Can you imagine this going, if I finish the body, this going all the way down, and how I love the way this different texture is framing the contour of your body. It's and it's super easy to knit. It's taking ages because it's a slip stitch pattern, so you really need to knit a lot to get a little bit of length. But I like that it's going pretty slowly. I think it's very comforting because it's an easy stitch pattern, and I just love it. So yeah, I'm so excited. I'm just so pleased with the fit. And I'm also super pleased with the yarn I'm using because, as I mentioned, this is a non-superwash yarn, and it's very springy and like spongy, but in a good way. And the slip stitch I'm using also makes the fabric a little bit thick, but since the yarn is so lightweight and so like spongy and airy, it doesn't make it too heavy, and the fabric is still very, like, you can feel it, very breathable, and it's very nice feeling fabric. It doesn't feel tight or dense or anything, it's just wow. And yeah, I'm just so excited to have this. It's even better than I expected. So yeah, this is going slowly, and I'm hoping I can do a test call in a few weeks, between mid and end January, I think. It depends on how much time it takes me to knit this guy because it's taking so long. But yeah, and the grading is gonna be challenging because I've never done something like that, but also every design I've made has been the first one I've made in the category because I'm not really a knitwear designer. I mean, not for long enough for me to have any experience in any of the construction I choose. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I'm gonna have to learn a lot, as always, but it's gonna be glorious. I'm just so excited. And I'm planning a long version with this yarn, and I will do a short sleeve version because I think it's gonna be amazing as well as a t-shirt. Can you see the vision? Okay, so that's it for my knitting. Okay, I'm gonna get tangled. Just put it down there and I will see later. That's it for the knitting. So now we have a little bit of time left to talk about, to make a little bit of a year in review for 2024. And I'm not gonna put my sweater back on because I'm too hot. So, in 2024 I had the loose goal. It wasn't really a set in stone goal, but I was kind of like, it would be nice if I can do that. The loose goal of knitting 10 kilos of yarn, which may seem like a lot, but I think in 2022 I knit 7 kilos and in 2023 it was 9. So I figured I'm pretty sure I can do 10. And I did, because I used the Knit and Note app to track my makes and everything, and it happened to do overview of the year, and it tells you the number of completed projects, the skeins used, the grams used, and the meters used. Not all of those are super helpful because the skeins, I mean, if I use a mini skein that's 20 grams in a project and I use 20, then I've used 20 skeins, but it doesn't, you cannot know how many of how big a skein you used, so it's kind of useless. And the meters used, kind of useless too, because if you hold the yarn double, you double the meterage even though you haven't actually knit all of that. So I usually prefer to use grams to track what I do, and here is what my app tells me. So I finished 45 projects and I knit 10 kilos. Barely! So that's great! I reached my goal and I'm super proud of it and I'm happy about that. My other loose goal was that I wanted to get my stash down to 10 kilos. When I started the year, I think I was at 12 or 13 kilos, which might seem like a lot, but again, if I knit 10 kilos in a year, actually my stash is not that big. That's like a year and something worth of knitting, so it's okay. So my stash is now down to 10 and something kilos, which is good, which means I also reached this goal. So I have knit 10 kilos and I got my stash down to 10. So I have gotten down 2 or 3 kilos, which doesn't seem like a lot, but I'm still pretty proud. And what I like about this is that I reached this goal without going on a yarn ban, because I still bought like 7 kilos of yarn this year, since my stash didn't go down this much. Now let's talk about a little bit of a breakdown of all of that. The 10 kilos I knit were not exclusively from stash, because I did unravel some garments and then re-knit the yarn, which means it was not in my stash. So there is a little bit of that as well. So that's why my stash went a little bit less down than what I knit also. But whatever. So within the 45 finished objects of this year, knitting and crochet together, I did 7 sweaters or cardigans. Maybe 8, because one of the projects was adding a pocket to a sweater, so I'm counting that in a sweater. So 8 sweaters and cardigans project. I did 10 tops and tees. This one I did last year, so it's not counting. I did 2 blankets. Actually, I didn't finish any of them, but I wanted to count the yarn I had knit in them anyway, because they are both on pause. So I made progress on 2 blankets. I made 11 neck and head accessories, so hats, cowls, shawls, and hair accessories. And I did 3 pairs of socks. None of them were for me. And I did 7 homeware pieces and 4 skirts and dresses. So that's the breakdown. I would have thought I had more sweaters, but at the same time I'm not surprised, because I've been knitting a lot of skirts and like tees, because that's what I wear the most, so actually I'm not surprised. Now, my most worn garment of the year is the lila top that I test knit for K3, and I'm just living in it. I didn't put it on just here, because it has kind of a high neck and I thought it would be a bit weird to do the try-on, because they were coming at the same height and it would be awkward, so I didn't put it on today, but I am living in this thing because it's perfect for summer, because it's knit in a very breathable yarn that I'll talk about later, and it's also perfect for layering because it's the correct length to reach the height of my pants or skirts, so I don't have a cold section of belly here that's exposed. And I don't really like having full like t-shirt sleeves under my sweaters, because usually my sweaters are not that oversized and I don't like having the bulkiness of a sleeve. So I like having a sleeveless thing underneath. So the lila top is perfect for summer and winter, so I wear it all the time. And the yarn I use for the lila top is Pernel by Natisea, which is my best yarn discovery of the year. It's 100% hemp. It's not linen or cotton or anything, it's hemp, and it's amazing. The drape of this yarn is like next level. It's like anything else I've ever seen in my life. It's just beautiful, it's amazing. It feels heavy, but it's so breathable and it feels so great against the skin, and it's great in winter, in summer, and in every situation it's just perfect. So that's my best yarn of the year. It's Pernel by Natisea, and I really recommend you try it. It feels super weird when you get it because it feels like raffia and you feel like you should maybe do a bag with that rather than a garment, but I promise with washing it transforms completely. And then my favorite makes, which are not necessarily the most worn, but my favorite makes either way. The first one is the Teddy Zip by Joanne Ho. I knit it using Nutiden, held with the Filcolana Peruvian Highland wool, and it's just perfect. I feel so much like myself in that. I'm just so pleased with the color choice and the different colors in the sleeves and the body. It's super warm, it's super cozy, and it just feels great, and it has pockets and the fit is perfect. I heavily modified it, by the way. But the fit I got with the modifications is perfect, and I just love it so much. I'm always wearing that. Right now it's a little bit too cold, but in the transitional weathers it's perfect. I really like it, and I'm super proud of this one. The next one is the Melon Sweater that I test knit for Laura Penrose. I'm just in love with the color choice. Of course the pattern is great and it has a great fit, and it's the main color I used is Bichebuche Le Lamb's wool, and that's also weird because it feels very rough, but it's not itchy for me, even though I'm super sensitive, so that's very weird. Actually the same yarn as the main color in this one, but here I used a lot of Nutiden, so it's mainly the floats that touch me, so this one is itchy. So I didn't really know if the Bichebuche Le Lamb's wool was soft or not, but now I can tell it is. At least it's not itchy. And yeah, I'm just so proud of the color choice. I think it's also very me. I just feel like myself when I'm wearing that, and that's just the best thing I could want from a hand knit. So my Maxine is one of my top 3, and the other one is a self-drafted dress I did this summer, and again it just feels perfectly like me. I'm super proud of it. It took a long time to knit, but not that much actually, and I just love the fit, I love the shape, I love the breathability of the yarn. I use Sandnes Garn thin linen, and it's super lightweight, it's gorgeous, the drape is incredible, and I'm just super proud of it. When I knitted this summer, I wasn't really making patterns of everything I was self-drafting for myself, but now that I've started doing it more and more, and that a lot of people have actually asked me to make a pattern out of this dress, I think I'm gonna do it for next summer, so that's coming, and I'm really proud of it. Then bonus, just my favorite design of mine for this year, so I have 3. I have released 3. There is the Skeeter skirt, the Halmoni jacket, and the Halmoni shawlette and cowl. And my favorite one, I think, is the Skeeter skirt, because, again, it's the one that feels the more like me. It's just, I'm always wearing this kind of skater skirt style. I love the pockets, I love the colors, I love everything. I'm just super proud of them, and the pattern is doing really great, so that also helps in boosting my confidence regarding it, so that makes it my favorite design of mine for 2024. And my least favorite make of this year, that was actually difficult to choose because I love everything I do. I have finally come to a point where I am happy with everything I do, and if I'm not happy, I'm not scared to rip it back. immediately so that I don't push through in the wrong direction. So I don't really have anything I'm like regretting doing. So the only one that I regretted and I never wore is it's pretty funny because it's the same pattern as my absolute favorite most worn garment of the year. It's the Lila top by Kadri. Because I made two. I made the first one for the test knit using the Pernel yarn, and it was so perfect, so wonderful that I immediately wanted to make another one, and I had some leftovers. Estiva, it was by Lanivendole, in my stash, and I just wanted to use up this leftover, and I knew it was a little bit itchy because I had done a t-shirt with it and it was a little bit itchy, but I figured if it's just for a sleeveless top and a little bit oversized, it could be suitable maybe, and it was awful. I hated it in every single aspect. First, it was itchy, of course, and a little bit more than I could stand, because the whole weight of the garment was just on the strap, so it was super itchy just here, which I knew it would happen, but I don't know why I continued to push through. And then the drape of the yarn was absolutely not working with the pattern, and it looked like super stiff and awkward, and it wasn't making me feel great at all, and it was just fitting me so weird, even though it was the same size as the other one, but just the only difference was the yarn choice, and it was like night and day. One of them was my favorite and the other one was my least favorite of the year. So I just found that funny, and I thought it would be interesting to mention how important the yarn choice is in your makes, and how much, I mean, the pattern is important, but if you don't choose the correct yarn, it can really make or break the result. So that was interesting, and actually this one I ended up sending away. You probably know by now, unless you're new here. Hello, welcome. That I have done, that I gave away a lot of my summer tops and t-shirts that were not fitting me or too itchy or whatever. So I sent this one away to a super cute person, and it fits her beautifully, and it's so much better with her, and I'm super happy about that. So I'm glad I did it so that I could gift it to someone. But yeah, it was still my least favorite knit of the year. And now let's talk about my loose goals for 2025. Again, pretty loose. I'm not gonna be too hard on myself if I don't reach them, and I'm not gonna beat myself up during the year so that I can reach them. It's just like, I'm just curious to know if I can reach them or not. So it's basically pretty close to what I did from 2024. So I would like to knit 10 kilos of yarn again. If I did it last year, I think I could do it again this year, and it felt like a reasonable amount. I was not pushing too much, a little bit, but I love knitting, so it's pushing in a great way for me. It's encouraging, and yeah, it feels like a great amount for me. So knit 10 kilos in 2025, and I would like to get my stash under 7 kilos. So right now, if I don't buy anything for the rest of the year, I should get my stash down to 0. But that's not the point. I still would like to have some breathing room and maneuver possibilities, or however you would like to call them, with my stash. I still would like to have the liberty of choosing to knit this or this without having to find the yarn whenever I want to cast on something new. I still want to have a little bit of stash, but I don't need a whole year's worth of stash, I think. I will see, maybe I do. So I would like to get down to 7. It's roughly the same goal than last year, because I want to get it down by 3 kilos. It's a little bit more, because last year it was more like 2 and something. But I think at the beginning of the year I was at 12 kilos, I'm pretty sure. So I would like to get it down by 3 kilos. So we shall see if I'm capable or not. It means that I should buy less than 7 kilos this year, which still is quite a lot. So it should be good. But yeah, if you saw my winter knitting plans video, you know that everything I have planned for the winter until the end of March, I have yarn for in stash, except for one garment. I think something else, I don't remember. Ah yes, the Melon Sweater short sleeves, I don't have the yarn yet. So there's those 2, and I think maybe 1 or 2 that I put in the plans more like, Or maybe if I'm really bored and I really don't want to knit something else, I can do those. And for those, I'm planning to use leftovers that I don't have yet. So if I don't have the leftovers, I may need to buy something, but we will see. Other than that, I don't think I should buy too much yarn during the winter. So my loose plan for the end of March, I think, is 1 kilo in. That's 10 skeins. The garment I'm planning, I think, is gonna be 400 grams maximum, and then the melon sweater is gonna be 200. The melon sweater short sleeves. So that gives me 400 grams of leeway of something, we shall see. So I hope I can stick to that. 1 kilo of yarn in until the end of March. We shall see. The last goal is, again, if you've been here for a while, or if you've just been listening for the last 5 minutes, you will know that I started designing this year and I absolutely love it. Like, it's amazing. It just corresponds to who I am and how I work so well. It's just perfect for me. So I just would like to go a little bit more into depth into that. I would like to try new constructions. I would like to get better at grading. I would like to learn new techniques and just be more efficient at that. So I would like to try the knitwear designer lifestyle a little bit more this year and see if it can maybe become a thing for me, because I'm currently unemployed and I don't know what to do with my life. I touched on this a little bit more in a precedent episode. I'm not gonna come back on that, but yeah, it's a little bit complicated for now and I have the time to try, so I think I will try. And we will see where it leads me, if it works or not. But whatever happens, I still wanted to thank all of you from the bottom of my heart. I thank all of you about every episode, but I'm just so thankful. I just have so much gratitude in me for all the support I received and all the nice comments I get, and you are all so sweet and so kind with me, and I just can't believe it. Every time I see a comment from you, I'm like, this is so sweet. So yeah, thank you so much for your warm support. It really means a lot to me. 2024 was not easy by any means, but it got better towards the end because I finally started to take actions towards all the problems and the mental health issues I was having. So it's getting better, and I just hope it will only get better during 2025. I'm not aiming for a perfect situation by the end of the year, but I just hope it's gonna be less difficult than 2024. So we should see what happens. So thank you so much for your support throughout the year. It's a lot thanks to you that it's got better towards the end. Thanks to your support, your nice comments and all of that. I talk about that all the time, but I'm still very thankful. And I really don't want you to forget that. So yeah, if you want to stick around for next year and not miss anything I might design or do in the coming year, don't hesitate to subscribe and leave me a nice comment again, because you know how important and how impactful it is on me. Even if it's just like, I like the video, even those small comments, I'm like, they took 5 minutes out of their precious time to tell me they like the video, and I know how it's difficult for me to leave a comment like that, so I kind of project on others how it's probably not, but how important and how big of a step it is to leave a comment, and I assume it's like that for everyone. So I'm like, oh my god, that's such a nice thing. Anyway, thank you so much. I hope I will see you again during the coming year, and yeah, I think that's it. Happy knitting and happy 2025!